Loom gate ahead. I'll collect its key swatch. Guild members must have made good use of this one. This place never fails to impress. Just imagine it with full availability. Scavenge for treated coal at any rate. Linda knows that a priest could have been Oria's father. I'd better look around. Belonging to the priest.
Anything of note written inside?
From a quick skim, it details his vow to pledge himself to the first flame. And only the first flame.
Ah, I see.
I'll look elsewhere. This was where the farmer Lane mentioned was selling his crops. I should look around. Oh. A pair of silver glasses with an intricate cloth connecting them. Enchanted.
Could it? Brynn, please. Bring those back to camp.
Of course.
Close to the junction now.
Okay. That turned easily enough. Creaked a little, but seems stable now.
Perfect.
Certainly easier than Loomgate repair.
If we could have stopped the flow with a tool like this, the Hollow's Loomgate would have been trivial.
That should have cleared the Norian worksite.
Only one way to find out.
I'm going to let Arik power the scry for your run with the bloom, Brynn.
Appreciate it, Aurea.
You could use the practice.
Good news, Sev. The cave looks tangle-free.
That seals it then. Ah, literally and figuratively.
So... is this broken one the new, improved piping?
No, they hadn't replaced it yet. We can run our tests later.
First things first. We need to deal with the source problem before we can even think about the tapestry.
One problem at a time. I agree.
Here goes.
Good. Now move. We'll be ready. Good progress, Brynn. Smooth and steady.
It's looking a bit off.
That's normal. Just keep moving and you'll be fine.
She's got this. Darman Lane, be ready.
Did we?
Yes. Oh, we're good. Excellent work, everyone. We'll get this over to Solar, Brynn. She'll be ready for you whenever.
Before you ask, the answer is maybe.
About the scries? You know?
Of course I know. In this role, I can't afford to be oblivious to one of my colleagues sneaking about. And while well-meaning, Arakim is about as stealthy as a glass tail on rice paper. Which brings me to my question. The answer will tip me from maybe to yes or no. Why are you here and not him?
Khan Arteme, you know Kenrick's temper as well as anyone. How many times did Arakim get punished for daring to step out of line? He has incredible intentions, and will do anything to help your people. But you need to build his trust and confidence.
Let me come again to the point. Why you and not Arakim?
Honestly, I don't think he knows how to ask.
It's as simple as him asking me. I am not Stanhild.
No, but you have to prove that to Arik as much as he has to prove himself to you. That was the lesson I learned from Aurea. The best leaders are mentors and meet their people halfway. That's what Arik needs from you.
An interesting point. I suppose he did not receive much support. Well, ever. Very well. You have my approval. I shall be watching very closely to see how this proceeds. And fair winds. I hope you can find your answers. I just wish Isla were here to help.
One never quite forgets that smell.
Temple coal taking you back?
Unfortunately, yes. It conjures up images of stern keepers, hot stuffy vestibules, and ranted invective posing as sermons on the evils of magic. It was everywhere in Renland. The church has the nation in a stranglehold, and so I left. At considerable speed. I don't think I really stopped running at all until... well...
Until you met the love of your life.
yes. I thought so. I still hope so.
It's been a strain on you both.
I'm sure everyone has noticed.
Need an ear?
Maybe. It's clear she yearns to just stay here in the Enclave, even if we brought down the veil. But I find comfort in the road. It has few preachers and no community dedicated to strangling out individuality.
Worried if you stop moving that it will catch up with you?
I suppose I am still running in a way.
Does she know that?
It's not something I want to burden her with.
She's strong, in a lot of ways. Something to think about.
Right. Yes, I shall.
It's significantly easier to do a repair than working up a new suit of armor from scratch. I'm going to go soft.
We could use some really intricate chandeliers to brighten up the place.
Casman would be happy. Though, I strongly suspect this entire thing is an elaborate ruse to get Dom and I talking.
It's not like her to run out of things, it's true. Is it working, do you think?
I don't know. The intentions are good, but I'm hurting.
I think you both are.
Yes. But I'm the one who's been following his dream of wandering the Maida for years. And the moment I say, hey, maybe we could do something else, he shuts down.
You're right. That doesn't seem fair.
It isn't.
He didn't have a great reaction to what you said, it's true. But at the same time, he was rather caught off guard.
Well, perhaps it was a little abrupt?
Maybe he deserves a chance to have a second reaction?
You're as bad as Casman. Speaking of, we should see her and present the fruits of our labors.
What did we learn about the scries, fellas?
Nothing good, unfortunately.
You know how all enchanted things use woven patterns to achieve their effects yet? Well, the scries used here for decades were warped. There's no other way to describe them.
Some sort of corruption or decay?
Not exactly. More like elements had fused or connected in different ways than were intended by the enchanter.
I take it that's not normal.
Dom's never seen it. And I asked the High Enchanter, and he had never heard of it either.
Even more worrying is that the Mirian's bloom also behaved strangely while we were trying to distill it. Normally there is a very rote set of steps, but it took Lane and I several tries to find the proper alchemic ratios to make it useful.
And then we have the Spitfires, acting more aggressive than normal, nesting in odd places. Putting it all together, we're seeing a worrying pattern of unexplained changes.
Ones that would be hard to notice if a certain band hadn't broken through the veil. We can confirm these changes aren't happening outside the Enclave.
Huh. What do we do about it then?
Dom and I have been talking about it and have some ideas. Give us a little bit of time to see if we can come up with a plan.
I'll leave you to it. We have our Norian prototypes. How you feeling? Theories proven, research recovered.
A successful collaboration by any measure.
I'm glad I could help, Sev.
More than anything, this has reminded me that not all Norians are scheming political animals.
Some are you.
Well, not anymore. But yes, Some are more interested in sharing their expertise and pushing it further. And that's enough to give me hope that maybe if we get out of here, there's a way I could reform things.
Or at least open some eyes.
Exactly. That's a problem for the future, though. For now, there are tests to run.
Have you taken a closer look at the glasses I found in the farmer's stand?
I can hardly believe it. My mother's craftwork is unmistakable. Enchanted to adjust with degrading vision.
So we found your father. Lane's notes mentioned his name was Eugenius Osphine.
I guess so.
I thought you'd be happy.
No, I am.
Aurea, what's really going on? Be honest.
I thought I came from a long line of weavers. Now... Never mind.
Aurea.
I need to be alone right now.
I had a chance to run a test, and I would say our stove is cooking better than ever. Keeps the heat well, burns clean. A job well done.
Dom's always been very good at treating that kind of coal. Must be the Wren in him.
Hardly. No, I simply find my inspiration in...
I think...
Sola, I have an idea.
Oh?
Tarmakind uses exceptionally precise temperatures to work the metal, yes? Sometimes exceptionally high?
I mean, yes, but...
I finished Xavier's journals. He was quite thorough and talked extensively about working with the Halopai priests.
Nothing quite helps me commune with the flames like someone slamming a hammer into metal.
You'd be surprised. But I imagine Dom means the shrine underground. I saw it mentioned too.
Precisely. And perhaps we could lean on our intrepid point to investigate.
Of course. I'd be happy to.
They must have kept records. Samples, perhaps.
I really appreciate this.
Dom and I have been running down the mystery of our alchemically odd plants and degraded scries. We've got a working hypothesis, but we're going to need to lean on you again to prove it.
As long as I don't have to do any more cross-swamp runs, count me in.
Worse, I'm afraid. We think the source of the problem might be the miasma. Dom's theory is that it's slowly affecting the patterns inside the Enclave.
Our enchantments.
Everything. We've never been able to perceive or harvest them, but there's a school of thought that everything alive has a pattern in it. And if that pattern allows us to interact with and control magic, the theory goes that magic might be able to affect us in turn.
You think we're in danger?
Obviously, tangles are inherently dangerous, but that's the question we want to answer. Could they affect the creatures here in more subtle ways? Could too much magic explain the Spitfire's behavior? If so, we have to worry there might be long-term effects on all of us.
Spirits. How do we prove it?
You've been collecting resonance for all your time in here, as have our enchanters. That data gives us a baseline. What he needs, then, is a comparison resonance harvested during a miasma from any of the natural beasts. Arcs won't help, alas. Sev's new toy should come in handy.
Right. I'll tackle it as soon as I can.
Why do I feel as if I'm about to have my time wasted?
Please allow me to present my research. I promise it won't take but a moment. I've compiled a dossier concerning an event that occurred in the Enclave around 35 years ago.
And what event would that be, pray tell?
The attempt to pierce the veil. I can only assume you were familiar with the Verdant Mines.
The name rings a bell, though it's been decades, as you said.
They were the subject of many of your speeches. It's interesting that your memory on the subject is hazy.
You'll forgive me for not remembering the exact wording or subject of any of the hundreds of speeches I've delivered throughout my career.
That's not a problem. I can summarize my findings. Firstly, our evidence suggests, with a high level of confidence, that you were aware of the Verdant Mind's plans to pierce the veil. Secondly, in support of that assertion, you gained this knowledge through your close relationship with the enchantress known as Lucia.
I never knew any enchantress by that name.
That's odd, since you seem to have been a recurring character in her personal journals. Though, truth be told, she didn't seem particularly fond of you in the later entries. So, back to the attempt to pierce the veil. You knew...
I knew that it would go poorly.
You knew?
Of course I did. But what does it matter?
You could have stopped it.
But I didn't. Pray tell, Lawkeeper, what goal did you hold in your mind as you traveled here?
I wanted to learn the truth about the past, to uncover what had been hidden.
Lane Free Selectus. That's who you are, yes?
That's correct. Though, I'm not sure how... never mind. But my research...
House Lectus of Udea. It's no wonder you felt the need to make something of yourself. Well, today will not be that day. Nor, I believe, will any. I won't waste my breath debating a jumped-up little snot from a house so consumed by cupidity that it can't even keep its hearths lit. Once a failure of a house, always a failure of a house. And it shows in your insipid rag parading as research.
Did you just call me a jumped-up little snot?
No, I didn't. You must have misheard me.
I...
Will that be all from you? I have a daughter to grieve, after all.
Skies! That is enough. Lane deserves better than this disrespect.
You dare to speak of respect? You, who broke into our home, who undid Asylum, who attempts to destroy decades of societal progress.
I won't even address that. Your manipulation and arrogance are deadly. And I see your bare shoulders as proof.
Get!
Brynn, thanks, but it's not worth it. I need to go.
Skies above. I was worried this would happen.
Certainly where emergency powers...
I'm with you, Brynn. Didn't expect the miasma to be so intense over the scry.
You get used to it. Just have to use a more gentle touch and feel the way it slides.
I'm pulling you. Brace for it.
precisely under what conditions it was harvested, it will be perfect for our study. Intriguing to think of weaver smiths and priests working side by side down here.
The preachers you grew up with would launch an hour-long diatribe at the very thought, yeah?
An hour would just be the introduction.
Detailed smithing logs with Xavier's name on them. Lots of sketched out designs, mostly in the margins.
Doodles always help me think too.
Is that bottled magma?
I've got one. I can't believe it's still warm. And you can feel the magic pulsing through it.
I wonder if proximity to the coral has affected it in some way.
Think that's all I'm going to find down here. Get your research hat ready, Lane. There's a lot.
I do not need a hat.
What's the verdict with the resonance comparisons, Dom? Are we all doomed?
Not doomed, no. But that they're so common here in the Enclave makes it clear that this place is overflowing with magic. Have you ever blown into a bladder until it popped? I worry that's where we're headed.
No. Have you?
Ah. Well, I am from Renland.
The patterns did show signs of change then.
Subtle but present. What was intriguing was watching them relax over time, as if the miasma caused them to contract like a muscle.
So things might recover if we could bring an end to the tangles?
Your work with Sev has already pointed us to a longer-term fix, using the underground conduits. Until we find a way to stop the bladder inflating, though, that's just a stopgap measure.
We have to tell the Axel, though. She needs to know about this so we can take every precaution.
Oh. We?
Yeah. It's time. Meet you there.
Both of you this time. Must be important.
It is. We've identified a long-term risk to our people. A source of decay in our enchanted devices. And I've prepared a list of safety measures we should take.
You have?
Yes, we... Wait. Why did you say that like you already know?
Arakim, do you know how intense the competition to become Axel truly is? Even in our diminished state, it is ruthless. Each guild jockeying for its representative to be elevated. To win the seat, you need allies, knowledge, and the will to use both.
You've been watching us this whole time.
I have been watching you, Brynn. Yes. I have been judging Arakim.
Always a test.
What I have seen is growth. Your enthusiasm and energy has never been in question. But your judgment and initiative have often been rash. But in working with Brynn's band, I've seen you set goals, lead plans, move from asking permission to making your case. Just as you came here to do, did you not? To lay out a set of clear steps we should take to preserve our new scries and keep our people safe?
Yes, that is exactly what I was going to do.
You should act on your recommendations with my complete support. I know you're not making them lightly, and they affect your people the most. So yes, it was a test. And as Khan, it will be the first of many.
You just said Khan.
I did. The scouts have been ignored for far too long, as we try to pretend everything is as it was. Enough. Unless you disagree, Arik.
No. Not at all. We've been pushing for this forever.
Good. And you should thank Brynn when we're done. She raised a very salient point in our last chat that swept away the last of my hesitations. Now take a knee, would you? There's work to be done, and neither of us is really built for fancy ceremonies.
This is really very clever.
You figured it out then?
Yes, Xavier's idea was to use an alchemical process similar to what Dharm and I just did to treat the coals. Elements left over from weaving flame strands distilled and used to treat magma.
Literal magma? The blood of the earth?
Enchanted magma, measured precisely from one of Xavier's containers.
Sola will be over the moon. I'll let her know.
And I'll collate the more technical details. They'll be ready when she is. I can't even begin to explain how I feel. This is a disaster.
Did I make it worse?
No. No, not at all. Not for a moment. You were very kind and strong and supportive and courageous. It reminded me of why I left.
Home.
Everything back there was all about your house. Your actions or intent never mattered. And when I tried to forge a different path in life, the knives came out. I had no real choice but to leave. I thought I had left it all in my past. But now, here we are.
For years, no matter how hard I trained, my last mentor, Aaron, told me I wasn't strong enough to be a point. When he eventually named one of his friends, Aram, the Weaver Band's new point, I was gutted. Even though he had no training, Aaron tried to convince me it made sense. Aram is just physiologically stronger than me. Of course, I took the first chance to get out after that. Just like you did. But until then, as much as I tried to ignore what Aaron was saying, a part of me was afraid he was right. Sometimes, when you're told the same thing over and over, you can't help but wonder if it's true. So, what I'm trying to say is that this guy has found his way inside your head. But that'll pass. And it doesn't reflect on the quality of your research.
I appreciate that. I'll try to internalize it. But for now, I think I just need to consider my next moves. It might take a while.
Take all the time you need.
Thanks, Brynn. Have you ever felt like you couldn't trust the people around you? Well, never mind. You did tell me about Aaron and how he undermined your confidence. I suppose it would have been hard to hold trust in someone who didn't respect you.
It wasn't fun, I can tell you that. Is there someone here who's putting you on edge?
It's Sev. And how he was collaborating with the Eye behind our backs.
Oh? I can understand, but you didn't exactly seem blown away by the revelation.
I didn't have time to process it. I have now, and the more I think about it, the more upset I feel. Logically, I understand the situation. I can trace the weave of circumstance that forced his hand and led to his deception. I know he had no choice, and I've even forgiven him. I said the words to his face, so why am I still so angry?
That's a tough one.
It reminded me again of Udea. Will the fear and the manipulation follow me forever? Will it taint everything? The secrets, the lies, the subterfuge. The Maida may seem a balmy paradise, but in reality, it is a toxic swamp. Every fiber of my being is screaming at the prospect of having my life ruined by this again.
All right. It's clear that sitting around base camp chewing on this isn't doing you any good. You need a distraction.
Possibly. What did you have in mind?
The Axel must be overwhelmed right now. Let's find something to help her with.
I'm amenable to this. Shall I let you ask her, or...?
Oh, no. You're coming with me.
I suppose it'd be good to catch up with her, and I'll meet you at Cassidy's Hold, then. See you soon.
Sev, did you see my... Never mind. Can you believe it?
Is it not lava?
I thought it was only lava if it bubbled up from underground. But now I'll have to ask Lane.
You heard the news then?
Oh, I'm sorry, Brynn. We ruined the surprise.
It's fine. Just nice to see you so happy.
We're confident that between the two of us, we can make Xavier's plan work.
And I'm keen to try it out. I was up sketching all night, and I have an idea for some armor to act as a test. If it works, we'll gather more. The Veil has to open someday, and with this magma, we could be on the road for months.
Or maybe we'll stay. Either option provides you many potential students.
Or maybe, just maybe,
We could do both.
we'll make it work. After we get this bloody Enclave sorted out. Right, Brynn?
I have every faith we will.
Brynn and Lane, to what do I owe the pleasure?
We're hoping that there's something you can help us with. Or rather, we're hoping that there's something we can help you with.
I'm not sure I follow.
I've been at a loose end, gnawing on painful thoughts, only growing more despondent in the process.
Huh.
So we're here to focus on problems that are a little more tangible. What can we help you with?
That is very kind of you. I've had a great deal of difficulty keeping on top of things.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We're here to help. Like I said.
Right. I've got a petition from the Scouts here somewhere. Let me find it. Arakim has been nagging me about accessing the Archon's hearth. Its stores of raw material could busy our Forge Masters for months. Now that I'm technically in charge, I'm loath to follow Kenrick's lead in recklessly sending the Scouts into dangerous situations. What I'm lacking to make that call is intelligence on the Archon's hearth. Our documentation is decades out of date.
I've already spent a lot of time in there, actually. It was pretty hot, from what I recall.
Dangerous too, one would assume. Can you elaborate on what you saw in there?
While exploring where the arcs were assembled, I couldn't help but imagine how busy it must have been back before the surge. Archons seem big when I'm fighting them, but the scale feels totally different when they're attached to a scaffold.
Fascinating.
Well, it was only one area that was particularly hot, but all of it was dangerous.
I assume you refer to the Arcane Foundry, then?
Yeah. It was on another level to what you've got here at the Hold, or what we have at camp. I can't imagine how many Archon parts they produced per day. The most interesting part was where they grew the coral. I could feel the magic running through it.
It is a reminder that there are still lost secrets to be found.
Exactly. Anyway, there's lots going on in there. Do you think it's safe enough to send in the Scouts?
Not quite. I still have grave concerns about the fluctuating heat levels.
I believe I may have a solution for that. A potion that will maintain your body temperature even in the hottest conditions. I don't quite have the equipment to make it yet, but the knowledge is there.
That's wonderful news. That said, I would like a demonstration to be sure they work.
A fair stipulation. Some sort of combat encounter in the Archon's hearth under the hottest possible conditions. Fighting an Archon that relies on fire magic would be ideal to demonstrate the potion's efficacy.
You know I'm always up for a challenge.
I have no doubt in your abilities after what I've witnessed you achieve.
Well then, I'll be back once I've felled a mighty construct.
And then the priest says, that's not how you extinguish the holy flame.
I thought you never extinguished the holy flame.
They make certain exceptions when it threatens centuries-old tapestries.
You never talked about your time in the church.
They're not happy memories.
No, but they're yours.
Then let's not fight again so I have more time to share them.
That's unreasonable. Let's just make sure we're talking.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, Brynn, how did it go?
It worked amazingly. In fact, I was almost too cold.
Oh, I must have prepared it incorrectly. Perhaps too much stirring.
I'm kidding, Lane. It was perfect.
Ah, your elevated wit eludes me once again.
If you two are done messing around, it's excellent to hear that the potions worked. Lane, what sort of quantities can we produce for the scouts?
As much as you need. It's not hard to make.
That's very good news. I wonder why the Eye never explored this as an option.
I would assume the reason sits somewhere between lack of care and gross negligence. Speaking of the Eye, Brynn, the Axel and I had a chance to sit and talk for a while. Would you believe that she isn't his biggest fan either?
There were some subtle context clues that tipped me off.
We were indeed not very cordial with each other at the best of times.
In particular, the way he kept secrets rubbed us both the wrong way. We found ourselves in agreement that any new government here should be built on a foundation of trust and respect.
A foundation that will only be built if we secure our survival. Lane and I don't agree on everything, but it was good to sit and speak with someone who understands the nature of the work I'm doing.
It's not every day that one has the privilege of watching a new order emerge.
Perhaps you will be here to document it.
I should like that very much. The story of a new Enclave should be made available to all. Every detail, out in the light. I'm struck with inspiration. I need to return to base camp and get started on my history. To be here as it's being written. To be the one writing it. Oh, what a privilege.
Oh, they're gone. Do they always do that?
Yes, that's a fairly frequent occurrence.
Well, with my mind at ease, for now, at least, I will thank you and bid you farewell. My list of petitions is smaller by one, for the moment.
We're here to help. Talk later.
If we have learned anything in the past while, it's that standing too firmly on ceremony costs us time and opportunities. We, as a people, would have withered and died without the tireless efforts of your scouts and their forebearers. And so I elevate you, Arakim Katabi, to the station of Khan of the Enclave, and grant you the title of Guide. May your initiative and care chart a path for us all.
okay. Mind if we talk somewhere private?
Lead the way.
I won't be returning to expeditions. I've known for a while now, but I couldn't bring myself to admit it. My days as Point are over.
I thought you were recovering from your injury.
Not as well as I should be. That I got injured at all was a sign that I'm not as fast as I used to be. I should count myself lucky. Not many Points get a career this long, but I'm not ready for this to end. Especially here, of all places. What kind of legacy is it to reach the Enclave only to sit by the fire?
But you've had an incredible career. And it isn't ending just because you can't go on expeditions.
I know, but it's not the same. And some part of me was hoping to end on a big score. I thought if I found out who my father was, if he turned out to be some great weaver like my mother, it's silly.
Tell me.
I thought I could solidify my legacy in history. Make sense of what my own contributions have been, if anything at all.
You're an incredible weaver in your own right. You don't need impressive parents to prove that. And if you had to pick your last act as Point, isn't finding your way into the Enclave the biggest score of all? You're everything I want to be.
That's very kind. Maybe in time I'll make peace with what my career has been. But for now, it's too raw.
Is there anything I can do?
Unless you can give me a few years back. This is grief I'll need to sit with for a while.
I understand. I wish there was something I could do to help Aurea see herself the way I see her. Lane knows a thing or two about recording legacies. Lane, I was wondering if you could help me with something.
What is it?
Well, it turns out Aurea's search for her father wasn't just about finding her family.
Crusades into one's lineage rarely are. Let me guess. She didn't find the missing piece of herself that she hoped she would, and now she's having an existential crisis.
Yeah, that kind of sums it up.
It happens. So, what has all this really been about?
She knows she needs to retire, and she's struggling with what her legacy has been.
Ah, isn't it strange how the most accomplished people never seem to recognize their own success?
Yeah, I was hoping you could help with that. After all, isn't chronicling a legacy your specialty?
We could certainly commemorate her career with a written account. A lovely idea. I would suggest we personalize it with anecdotes from each of our traveling companions, as they've been in Aurea's band longer than you or I. Would you interview them for me? Legacies may be my specialty, but you might have the leg up when it comes to connecting with others.
Sure, I can do that. Any tips on what to ask them?
Ask whatever you like. Maybe you want a few humorous stories in the mix? Or some readers prefer heartfelt. Why don't I start by interviewing you?
Me?
Of course. We'll need your input. What has Aurea meant to you?
Before Aurea, I didn't really have much of a mentor when it came to weaving. Sure, I picked up things from my old band. But she takes passing on knowledge so seriously. And her love of our culture comes through in how she teaches.
Great. I'll transcribe that and start her biography. Take notes when you speak to the others and come back to me.
You know, a lot of Points struggle with transitioning into a Watcher's role full-time. And there's never been a Point more passionate than Aurea.
I know. I hope this eases her pain.
I'm sure it will. Now, what can I do to help?
What do you think makes Aurea such a strong leader?
She listens to her weaver's input when needed, yet remains decisive when a consensus can't be reached. The band I travelled with before fell apart due to disagreements over what our goals should have been. It was a difficult and tumultuous time in my career. I never wanted to live through that again.
I can relate. Traveling with Aurea is a completely different experience to my last band, too.
She has a clear vision for her band, and she chooses people that share her goals. Even when conflict arises, it doesn't last long, and Aurea can diffuse it quickly. That's because we can all trust that one another's intentions are good. Leading a Weaver band is half the battle. Now, picking the Weavers? That's the tough part.
Thanks for sharing, Dom.
Brynn, I love what you're doing for Aurea. How can I help?
You've been in the Weaver band the longest. How do you think Aurea has changed throughout her career?
To be a point for as long as Aurea has is extremely rare. The knowledge she's acquired at a time when Weavers have lost so much is invaluable. She's always been passionate about recovering what was lost since the Surge. Though, I think feeling alone in that ambition has taken a toll on her over the years.
In what way?
Not all Weavers are in this for our collective culture the way Aurea is. Many of them only seek personal glory. When Casman didn't work out as her replacement point, she became worried she might never find someone that shared her vision for this band. It meant a lot when she finally found you.
Wow. Thank you, Sola.
Happy to help.
I haven't known Aurea for as long as the others, but she's done a lot for me. I'd like to help with your project if I can.
Of course, Sev.
What do you want to know?
What drew you to Aurea's Weaver band?
Truthfully, it was Sola. I wanted to learn as a smith's apprentice, and her craftsmanship is unparalleled. But, I suppose, something she said about her leader always stuck with me. She said that Aurea valued competence and accountability above all else. It didn't matter what your station was or where you came from. In the Norian Order, station was all that mattered, along with towing the line. I don't know. I thought it would be freeing to just focus on the work for once.
I suppose getting trapped with us wasn't the freeing experience you hoped for.
In some ways, no. But it's nice to be valued for my work, instead of my ability to cover for a superior's poor behavior.
Thanks, Sev.
Glad to be of service.
Your idea to commemorate Aurea's career with Lane is lovely. How can I help?
If you were to summarize Aurea's influence on your life, what would that be?
Aurea saved me from serious burnout with the Udean relief efforts. Not to mention, saving me from myself a second time here in the Enclave. I don't know if I'd still be here without her. Or any of you, for that matter. Anyway, the longer I worked the relief ships, the worse the fatigue hit me. And I think that had become my entire identity. Barely a few minutes into meeting me, Aurea asked if I ever thought of becoming a weaver. I thought she was mad. But I guess she had observed me giving orders and organizing shipments on the docks all morning. By the end of our conversation, I had a new purpose. And a home in her band.
That's perfect. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
But the account of Aurea's career is finished.
Great. I'll gather everyone if you're ready to present it.
I'll need to ice my quill hand. But, of course.
Let's hope she likes this.
She will.
What's going on?
We wanted to present the latest addition to Lane's archive to you, together. We all contributed, though credit goes to Lane for compiling and writing it.
I've titled it A True and Personal Account of Aurea Silverbeak Harpinay.
What is going on?
We wanted to do something special to commemorate your time as Point.
You didn't have to do all this.
We did. You've done more for each of us time and time again.
No one is more deserving of a place in Weaver history than you, Aurea.
So we took it upon ourselves to write you one.
As a thank you for everything.
I don't know what to say.
Lane, why don't you read just the opening?
Aurea Silverbeak, as she came to be known, was born to Sharian Harpinay and Eugenius Osphine inside the Enclave just before the Surge.
Osphine?
Though she never knew her father, her mother hoped Aurea would follow in her footsteps as a skilled enchantress within the Maida. But Aurea decided to become a Point, blazing her own trail. Something she would continue to do throughout her career, bigger and bolder each time. We'll let you read the rest on your own.
We hope this account will help you see yourself and your accomplishments the way we see you.
I'm at a loss. All I can say right now is thank you. Sev is set to vent the tangles from the source when you're ready, Brynn.
I hope this works.
We have every reason to believe this will make the source tolerable for you. I'll tell Sev to get started. Dom and Khan Arteme will escort you to the rift with the Ark.
Looks like Sev was right. The rift has been vented. It's as safe as it's going to be.
You sure that rope can hold us both?
It'll do the job. Just try to land gracefully.
I always do. Got it.
My magic will only carry the Ark for as far as I can see you. Good luck, Brynn of Carnhaven.
At least I don't have to carry it.
Brynn, you've kept me waiting.
Ignore it.
I plan to.
You'll find I demand attention. You know, it hurts my feelings that you haven't come back to visit me even once. I get lonely down there in my cell.
Boo-hoo.
Breathe through it, Brynn. I know its voice is making your skin crawl. I feel it too.
It helps when you guys are talking, instead of it.
Then we'll keep talking. We're here for you.
No matter what that voice says, you stopped the Herald before. You could do it again.
That furry friend of yours betrayed you, and yet you don't mind having him in your ear. Double standard.
Brynn, you put your faith in me at the Grand Gate. I'm doing the same for you now. None of us would still be here if it weren't for you.
You're getting close. One last chance. Join me, and I'll grant you strength beyond your wildest dreams.
I've already told you, I don't need it.
If you're strong enough without me, why are there 7 creatures chattering in your ear?
They're not crutches. They're friends.
We could be friends.
What's so funny?
Couldn't destroy me with an arc of my size. And so you brought a toy instead. breach is too wide for your arc.
Breach? What breach?
The breach between our world and yours, of course.
You're from another world?
You call us Surgeborn, but we are ancient. As old as the tear between worlds that bleeds what you call magic. A wound your kind tore wider in their own quest for power. Until they could no longer contain it. And the inevitable happened.
The Surge.
The Surge. An event so cataclysmic in both worlds it shook them to their core. And it left a path. One I had to follow. Your kind have mastered the coral, indestructible and suffused with incredible power. Power you barely understand and haven't earned. Power that should and will be mine. You can't hope to compete with me. I carry with me 1,000 souls and 1,000 bodies. You are an insect. Consider it an inherent failure of your species.
Could you shut up?
Does the truth strike a nerve?
No, you're annoying. And I'm trying to think.
Brynn! Arik managed to get the scry back, for now.
We've lost visuals.
The Herald is down, but regenerating. And the Arc of Verdance. It's working, but the raw magic is too much. The Arc can't pacify the tangles.
You need to get out of there. Now!
No! I have to do something.
Brynn, we will find another way.
Don't bother. You will die. Just like the Eye's daughter.
Whatever it takes. Her name was Isla.
Brynn. Can you hear me? Brynn, talk to me.
Oh no.
Come on.